with that out of the way, I teased it already, but I'm really, really excited to introduce Garrett Goggin. He's a gold analyst, gold mining analyst with, Garrett, 30 years experience in this space? There's 20? It's way more than I have. So I really appreciate you coming out all the way from the US to join us here, present. I warned you, you got 60 slides in there. You got to make it quick because you only got 30 minutes, but really looking forward to getting some firsthand feedback on election outcome, sentiment, mood, and of course, how to pick a junior mining stock. So Garrett, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. You're the publisher of the Golden Portfolio, and I don't know, you can do it. Thanks so much for joining us.
Excellent.
Clicky thingy.
Good.
And then,
thank you.
Off you go.
I don't know. But thank you all. I'm really happy to be here. My name's Garrett Goggin. I run a website. It's called The Golden Portfolio. Call it the ultimate way to invest in gold. It is 3 different portfolios focused on the explorers and developers and royalty, and the returns have been excellent so far this year. But this presentation, it was going to be my Secrets of the Mining Analyst, which I presented at in Switzerland a few months ago. But man, like, everything changed when Trump was elected, and the news that's coming out, like, my presentation contains a lot of stuff that might be obsolete by the time I get off this stage, because the news, it keeps coming and coming and coming, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch, and it's going to be interesting to see what's going to develop. The magic money tree and the rise of gold, why smart investors are buying now. One of the things regarding Trump's policies is there's one economic theory called MMT, modern monetary theory, espoused by Stephanie Kelton. Both parties have embraced that. It says debt is good. The more debt is better because it produces economic growth. So obviously politicians have grasped this from both parties. I believe they're going to start running with it, whether it be Republicans or Democrats, and that's one of the trends we're going to see, and that's why I named it myself. CFA charter holder, CMT for the market technicians. I went to Babson College, just got recently ranked #2 in the country, right behind Stanford. I worked with Stansberry Research and gold stock analysts for 15 and 20 years, and now I just started the Golden Portfolio and went out on my own for myself. The Great Awakening, Mr. Trump. There was a little bit of uncertainty with the election, but now that he is elected, there's been many changes that are occurring on a daily basis. And I call this the Great Awakening because America's moving from, woke, being woke to being awake. And, you've all heard the expression woke, right? It's liberal, it is... men can use women's bathrooms and wear dresses and that sort of stuff versus awake. America is going through a great awakening, and it's getting back to its core values that made America great in the 60s, 70s, and 80s that we got away from the past few years. One of the first persons that Mr. Trump tapped to get involved with his government was Robert Kennedy, the son of, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the son of Robert Kennedy. Now, Robert is going to be running our food system, the FDA, and you look at Rob, the guy's ripped, like he's in amazing shape. Who else would you rather have running your food system? The fit guy or the other person that can't even make it up a flight of stairs? There's been some amazing stuff that Robert's been, uncovering that's been, thrown out as conspiracy theory for decades, and now, it's been proven to be conspiracy fact. Robert is getting the food system back to, the way it was in the 1970s. In the 70s and 80s, the picture of the beach, everyone's skinny, everyone's healthy. Why is everyone obese right now? The obesity rate is 50% plus in the United States. Why does that happen? It's because of the food, and if you look at the food, like take a look at Fruit Loops. This is a German Fruit Loops versus the American Fruit Loops. German Fruit Loops has 5 ingredients. The American one has 100 plus, and it's illegal to sell in Germany. It's full of preservatives. It's full of, all sorts of other stuff. And lastly, COVID. Robert F. Kennedy has been looking at vaccines. The autism rate in the United States has been going through the roof. The number of vaccines needed by young kids has been going through the roof too. There's a community in Pennsylvania, the Amish community. They don't believe in vaccines. They have 0% rate of autism, 0%. So a lot of people try to brush us under the rug, but Robert Kennedy is bringing America back to its roots and making America healthy again. And it's all connected because back when the food system was good in the 70s and vaccines were low in the 70s, and also the U.S. was more on a, they had a stronger monetary standard. The U.S. got off the gold standard in 1971. There's a website, WTF happened in 1971. What the F happened in 1971? And it shows all the charts of everything going awry, debt going through the roof, obesity going through the roof, poverty going through the roof. It's all because America has gotten away from its roots and gotten away from, real money. Make America efficient again. The Doge, Elon Musk, Vivek. Vivek is, saying some amazing things too. He's talking about, what was it, J6 or when they stormed the government. It was the worst day in history. He's like, it was a setup. And he's very outspoken regarding a lot of other controversial topics. And then you got Elon Musk, and I have 3 little kids. They are 9, 7, and 7, and we live in Florida. We live in Jupiter, Florida, and Cocoa Beach, Cape Kennedy is just an hour north. So we've gone up and we've seen Elon Musk rockets, and it's the coolest thing ever. And we've also seen, Artemis, which is a NASA a rocket going to be shot off. And we went up 4 or 5 times. NASA tries to get it done, scrub, get it done, scrub, get it done, scrub. Finally, my last time going up there, I'm like, I have no faith in Artemis or NASA, and I'm looking up blast radius for this rocket. Like, if it doesn't work, like, are we in trouble here? And, we had good seats. We were up close, but you know what? If we were going to go, it would have been a good way to go. But Elon Musk, he gets the job done. He shoots rockets, up to the moon. Costs him $80 million. It costs the government $80 billion, and they can't even do it right because of, DEI. And you look at Boeing, and now we have astronauts. They went up in a new capsule made by Boeing, and they got stuck in the space station. And the astronaut Suni is, losing weight. She's like from Boston, near my hometown, and they had to tap Elon Musk to get in to shoot his rockets up to go save these astronauts. So these guys are getting involved, and it's coming fast and furious. And I believe that one of the reasons why gold sold off 6-7% over the past few weeks is because of these guys, because Elon Musk is so efficient and Vivek is so efficient, and they are going to cut the fat, from the government bureaucracy. But, in the end, I don't think they're going to, because they're about 50% of the U.S. government, 50% of the U.S. economy relies on government spending. The government is 50% of the U.S. economy. If the government cuts spending, the U.S. economy would go down in flames, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see that happen. So I don't believe that we're going to see major cuts. They're going to talk about cuts. We're not going to see major cuts. Tulsi Gabbard, she's going to lead the CIA and FBI. She's talking about, U.S.-backed biological labs in the Ukraine. And, Tulsi's, she served in our armed forces for, decades. She seems like a great person. It's another person that's really going to upset the apple cart. Matt Gaetz, the Attorney General. Trump is weaponizing the Attorney General, and he's upset for what happened to him. He's going to release Matt Gaetz upon the Department of Justice and all the people that were trying to prosecute Trump for ridiculous things, saying he overvalued his property in Mar-a-Lago. I live near there. It's worth 10 times what he stated. It's, it's going to be interesting. Has anyone seen the Dukes of Hazzard here? Is that a totally American thing? The new the Border Patrol czar, Tom Homan. He's older than that, but his picture is right there in his old patrol car. And then he's Bo Duke. It's like America getting back to the 70s. And Tom Homan is going around. He's like, we are going to get rid of all the illegal aliens. And I'm from Boston originally, and they're like, no, you're not. We're going to protect them. And he's given the governor warnings. He's like, you better not be protecting them because I'm going to come and I will arrest you. America is going in a better direction. And the reason why the immigration policy has been so crazy, they've been letting thousands and thousands of people over the borders, is because one of the reasons is because of the election. If you look at, the gray states, those are states that don't require a voter ID, and look at all the states that the Democrats won. There's all the states that don't require ID. Like, how can you allow voting without ID? It's mind-boggling. And then being from Boston, I'm still friendly with a lot of people up there. Immigrants go up to Boston. They're being shipped in up there. The government eminent domained some of the college dormitories. They kick the college kids out. They house immigrants in there. The immigrants, they get cell phones. They get $10,000, $20,000 cards. And all the hardworking individuals up there, they get nothing. We just had a hurricane that went through South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee. Those people got $750. So, but the reason why they're doing it is because, of the voting and the election and, the whole agenda. Beam me up, Scotty. And they're even talking about UFOs. It's just, the door is open. Stuff that people haven't talked about in many, many years is being brought up now. And that, the link between, basically you just follow the money. Why is the government doing things that they are? It's because of big business. They walk hand in hand. Why are there pharmaceutical ads all over the TV channels that have no relevance to anyone out there? It's because the pharmaceutical companies, they're buying off the media companies by spending, tens of millions of dollars a month on advertising. So, the government and big business has been walking hand in hand, and the American people have been left behind, and Trump is standing up for the American people. Take a look at Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is one of the greatest investors of all time. Why? Because she trades on inside information, which is ridiculous. I don't understand why U.S. politicians can, trade on inside information. Maybe Matt Gaetz will change it, but her investing record is unsurpassed. Now, after Trump redoes the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ, the FDA, then every other agency, the last man standing, the Federal Reserve. This is the Martin Eccles building. This is the last thing that Trump needs to restore to its roots. Now, one of the people that's probably going to be appointed Treasury Secretary is Scott Bessent. Scott Bessent worked for Soros Capital for 20, 30 years. He's been stated as saying Trump policy should follow Shinzo Abe's policy in Japan. 3 arrows. Basically, cut rates close to zero, use the Fed in order to buy bonds, and use debt to drive the U.S. economy. This is, like, we all know how it worked out for Japan. It was horrible. It doesn't work, and I can't believe Bessent is saying that. But this is what's going to happen. The government has to keep spending. They cannot stop spending, and it ties into MMT because MMT allows them to spend even more because debt is good now. Trump loves debt more than anything else. And I don't know if you can read that. He's like, I'm the king of debt. I use debt, and if things go bad, I go back to the bank and I can't pay you, and I'll only pay you back half. Well, that's that old joke. If you owe a bank $10 million, you're in a lot of trouble. If you owe the bank $100 million, bank's in a lot of trouble. What if you're the president of a country with $37 trillion in debt? Its people are in trouble. Trump loves debt. This is Stephanie Kelton. She wrote The Deficit Myth. That's been grasped by basically both parties because it allows them to spend without limit. And, you just keep on seeing more and more smoke coming in. It's the politically acceptable policy because it allows the politicians to keep on spending. It's not going to be cut. One tweet that Stephanie Kelton liked that showed interest on the Fed's balance sheet saying, oh, all we got to do is cut rates to zero and use the Fed to buy bonds. This is outright monetization. This is the next step we're going to. But what is going to happen? The debt. It's not going to decrease. The public debt has gone up basically every month, every quarter over the past 50 years. It can only go higher. 50% of our GDP is driven by the government. They can't cut it back or the U.S. economy will fall into a deflationary house of cards. All politicians love debt. Democrats or Republicans, they all spend debt equally. Last time Trump was president, he spent $8 trillion. Biden spent another $8 trillion. It's going to continue. Now, the new gold standard. This is what's going to tie MMT to make it palatable to people. Across the European community, there's been talk of pegging GDP to gold. European nations hold 4% of GDP in gold. Now, this is a start. This brings gold back into the financial system as a first step. But the problem is there's no unit of account. It allows politicians to keep spending billions and billions of dollars in debt to produce growth, and all they have to do is back their GDP, the growth, with the gold, and it leaves out the debt. It leaves out the dollar. It leaves out the currency unit. So it's going to free them up to spend billions as long as they hold, gold on their balance sheet. And if you take a look at this, here's the gold holdings, and you can see, the European holdings. Russia owns a lot. The BRICS, own a good chunk. China's been adding tons. And, the U.S. holds about 250 million ounces, worth 2% of their GDP. Now, the U.S. could either buy more gold or they could revalue their gold holdings higher. They only hold it on balance sheet at $40 an ounce. And one thing that this ties into, gold and silver illegal tender. This is a Trump tweet, obviously suggesting that gold, getting back to gold. This is Judy Shelton. Judy Shelton, Trump tried to get her on the board of the Federal Reserve last time. He likes her. He's trying to get her on the board this time. He might succeed. Judy is one of the biggest gold bugs out there. I think Trump is going to be amazing for gold. Trump loves debt. That spending is going to continue. And how much time do I have? 14? 14 minutes. I got 14 minutes? Oh, wow. Okay, I've been rushing. Now, this GDP to gold peg is like measuring stocks by market cap. It's like you look at market cap, the one company, this is Core Mining. Core's gone from about 500 mil market cap to whatever, 2 bill. It's like, oh, stock did great. And then you look at the stock price in red on the right. And it's like, well, no, it didn't. It used to be at 70 split adjusted. Now it's at 6 or 7. It's down 90%. It's because you're leaving out, the standard of value. Stocks are measured on a per share basis, and money is measured on a, gold basis. And this gold to GDP thing, it's leaving out that monetary unit, but it's going to allow governments to keep spending. I keep seeing more and more smoke popping up around, the politics and, gold and being restored. And it also ties into Bitcoin, which I will address in a bit. This is the GDP versus debt. Back in the day, you used to spend $1 worth of debt. You used to get $2 or $3 of economic growth. Now the government spends $1. All they get back is 83 cents. And this is going to continue downward. The government's going to have to spend $2 for $1 of economic growth, $3, $4, $5. It's going to accelerate because it's going to need more and more debt to produce more little growth. And if you look at some of the stats regarding the U.S. consumer right now, the U.S. is a debt-driven economy. Mortgage rejections is at the highest it's been, like over the past 10 or 20 years. And auto loan rejections are at an all-time high. People are applying to these. They can't even get qualified because they're in such bad financial shape. And both of these have just spiked to a new high. Americans, they will go get a car loan. They'll get it for, 10 years, 120 months, just because it thinks they get their payment down to a manageable amount. But in fact, they're paying, thousands and thousands of interest, and, which accounts for 90% of their payment. It's just the American consumers strapped because of inflation as well. And, you look at inflation, it's like 2% or 3%. The average food price, I got 3 little kids, it's gone up 2x, 3x, over the past few years. And it doesn't go down, it goes one way. So yeah, inflation might be a little bit lower now, but the food still costs 3 times what it did, a few years ago. Bitcoin. Bitcoin, the World Economic Forum wants everyone to own nothing and be happy in the future. And Bitcoin fits that agenda. Bitcoin, it is... it's not tangible. You can't hold it in your hand. It's digital assets. And regarding Bitcoin, every transaction you make, you can track by IP. I bought Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin at 10 back in the day. I sold it at 200. I thought I was a genius. But you can track every single Bitcoin transaction. And then when you need to convert it back in dollars, you're going through a financial institution. You're going through a brokerage. You're going through your bank account. Like, this is going straight, all the information right straight to the Fed versus gold. When you buy gold, like, that stuff, gold's gone. Like, it's not coming back into the system, So that's one of the things that the advantages of gold versus Bitcoin. And Bitcoin fits that conspiracy theory. But one of the things, there's been a lot of talk about a Bitcoin, strategic Bitcoin reserve for the United States, right? Like, they're probably going to do that, but do you know how they're going to fund it? They're going to revalue their gold on their balance sheet, and they're going to take the excess in order to buy Bitcoin. So America holds about, 250 million ounces at $40 an ounce. They'll revalue it higher. And this is another step that is bringing gold back into the financial system. Because the amount of debt outstanding is crazy. They know they have to do something. So this is one of the steps that they're going to start doing. And gold is slowly and surely moving its way back into the financial system. Now, this gets in, I like talking about the Trump stuff. It's fun, it's entertaining, but what I'm really good at, I'm a CFA, I'm an MBA, is the mining analysis, and I've been in the business for 20 years. I know how to separate the good companies from the bad companies, and the topic of my presentation, Secrets of a Mining Analyst. Everyone's like, Newmont, like, what is going on? They reported earnings, they looked okay. Why is the stock down so much? I tell you what's going on and why miners, it's a tough sector to invest in. Their production looks pretty good at about 6 or 7 million ounces per year. Their gross profit is great, spiking up even higher because the price of gold has been pushing the revenue higher. Everything looks great, but the deal is, like a monetary standard, the share price follows profits per share. So you need to focus on driving economics on a per share basis. And if you don't do that, and your profits per share decline, your share price is going to go down. You can see the very close correlation between the Newmont share price and their profits per share. And you can call profits whatever you want: earnings per share, free cash flow per share, operating cash flow per share. It's all correlated. That's what, as financial analysts, that's what we do. Now, I call it my hidden metric. A lot of people don't have access to this. I have a Bloomberg, so I'm lucky enough to pull up a chart, and I can see stock price, but I can also see shares outstanding. I don't know if it's available on Yahoo or Google. I've had trouble finding it elsewhere, but this is one of the first things I look at. I look at shares outstanding of the companies that I'm researching to invest in, and Newmont shares outstanding, have gone from it's tough to read. I don't know, 50 mil to what, 300 mil? And the shares outstanding has grown faster than their gross margin, grown faster than their production. So what happens when your shares outstanding grows too fast, your earnings on a per share basis declines. So you need to watch out for this. And companies are never going to tell you this. They're always going to highlight the good stuff. This is basically, it's like playing poker. Everyone's lying. This is the tell, see shares outstanding, see those transactions, see they spent, 500 mil for an acquisition or a bill for an acquisition. How much money have they gotten back? That's what you need to evaluate. Most miners are a poor investment. This is gold, the white top line over the past 20 years versus a lot of the miners. They've all underperformed gold. You'd be better off buying gold than investing in the miners, the large cap miners. Why? Basically, you need to watch out for the double Ds, the mining depletion and the shares dilution. So those are the two things that you need to watch out for. If you look at, the sector, and people think that, the miners, they're going to come back, but how about 50 years of underperformance versus the gold price? It's a trend. It's because mining's a tough business. It's hard to grow earnings per share accretively. Now, one of the things regarding the gold price and cash costs is when inflation pushes the gold price higher, costs follow. So there's a lot of people in the industry, they look at low-grade projects, they're like, yeah, it's a little bit profitable now, but when gold goes to 5,000, it's going to make so much money. It's like, no. When gold goes to 5,000, inflation's going to be through the roof, and that project's costs are going to be so much higher at that point in time. If it's not profitable now, it's not going to be profitable then. Gold miners, they track operating cash flow margin. Similar to the chart I showed earlier, it ranges between, 45% and 60-70% right there. You can see the tight correlation between operating cash flow, that's basically profits, versus the gold miner GDX ETF. It's tight. It's all about margins. It's all about the gold price. It's all about costs, and cash costs and all-in sustaining costs have been increasing. So this leads into this. Grade is king. This is Peter McGaugh. Peter's a world-famous geologist. He founded Mag Silver's Juanicipio in his first drill hole. He shared this article with me. It's called Archie's Rules. This guy, Archie Bell, he was a geologist in Orlando, needed a simple back of the envelope equation to figure out what deposit is going to be profitable. Basically, you need 2 times your net smelter revenue needs to be 2 times your operating costs. So if your operating costs are, in Mexico right now, they're $250 a ton. Your rock that you are mining needs to, you need to be getting you double that. So $500 per ton rock. So that, for the margin. So basically what this tells you, you need to follow grade. Grade is the only thing that leverages revenue higher because mining on a per ton basis is relatively fixed. So one of the only levers that you can push is grade and revenue to create higher margins. And the vast majority of mines, are barely profitable. Management and bankers get rich, and shareholders, get screwed because of the dilution. So you need to find the high-grade miners, like Lundin Gold, right? Fruta del Norte this year. I love that company, and I love that mine, and I wanted to add it, but the valuation, I like the smaller guys. It was at $2 billion, but Fruta del Norte's average grade is 11 or 12 grams a ton. The profits that they generate, they're buying back shares, they're paying dividends, they're just driving value. Lundin Gold's a freak, and it's an outlier, and it's all because of grade. You need to follow companies like that. Value is created by the drill bit. Almost all the value in the mining industry, it's from exploration. Once a mine goes into production, you're facing depletion. The Pierre Lassonde, the Lassonde curve, right? It's got a wave here at the beginning of the production, and then the mine depletes over time. But I'm going to skip forward a little bit because one of the best ways to play the mining sector are the royalties. You know, Franco, Nevada, Pierre Lassonde paid $2 million for the original home strike royalty that they've gotten, $1 billion back from. Why are the royalties a better investment than a lot of the major miners? Because they have fixed costs. Their costs never change. They negotiate the price of the contract, and even if gold goes to 5,000, they never have to pay more. They straight upside. They're diversified. This is Franco. They have 400 assets. If one or two mines go bad, it's no big deal. They just had Cobre Panama that got taken offline by the Panamanian government 2 years ago. Stock went down 20%. Big deal. For if it was a mining company like First Quantum, it's out of business. It could go down 80% or even more. Leverage. You know, the miners' margins are constrained from 40% to 70%. Right now, there's only so much growth you can get. But since the royalties, they have fixed costs. As gold goes up, their margins increase. Optionality. You know, the industry, you know, brownfields or greenfields exploration, a royalty company has an option on exploration upside. When they find more ounces, the royalty company makes more money. And also minimal overhead. You know, they've got 4 employees versus hundreds of miners. And the big fish get eaten by the small fish. I've seen more acquisitions in the royalty industry than I've seen ever before. I'm sorry I'm going fast, but there's a lot of stuff. Let me skip to the end here. My portfolios are kicking ass this year. One of them's up 150%, the other one's up 50%, the other one's up 30%, all better than the GDX. Now, gold has a long way to go. We are only at the beginning. All this stuff that is moving gold back to the financial system, the U.S. government is $37 trillion in debt. It's never going down. It's only going to go higher, and it's going to increase. This shows the GLD market cap to the SPY market cap. This is not a straight price measure dividing GLD price by SPY. This is market cap. This takes into account shares outstanding. It shows investors' relative appetite for the respective ETFs. Because when you buy an ETF, you have to add shares or subtract shares. So in 2011, the GLD market cap was it was higher than the SPY's market cap. It was equal to, I think it's 1 up there. The GLD ETF market cap was equal to the amount of money in the SPY as former market cap. This is crazy to think about that. And then you look at it now, it's at like 11%. It's undervalued by 10x. There's so much money in equity funds. There's no money in gold funds. And I run, you know, the newsletter business, and I can see the investor sentiment, and I can see the investor demand. And then this is GDX, same thing. No one cares. Look how high it was in 2011 versus now. No one is interested. This is GLD, shares outstanding. It always peaks when gold peaks. And we're nowhere near a top. We are early. You guys are lucky to be here. Take advantage of the opportunity. This is going to be a multi-year bull run in gold. So thank you for listening.